They told us that meditation was the way out, the cure for modern chaos, the doorway to inner peace, the fast track to clarity. Close your eyes, sit still, breathe. The rest will take care of itself. It sounded easy, and it felt promising, like finally we had something to shield us from the storm of everyday life. But somewhere along the way, the truth got buried beneath branding. What we were offered wasn't meditation. It was a marketed illusion, serenity on demand, tranquility with a timer. We were promised transformation in 10 minutes a day. What we weren't prepared for was what would surface in the silence. The truth is, real meditation isn't glamorous. It's not about becoming enlightened, superhuman, or eternally calm. It's about facing what's always been inside you, the clutter, the noise, the ache you've been trying to outrun. And ironically, it's when you stop trying to escape that things get loud. The thoughts you buried resurface. The feelings you numbed knock on your chest like a door long ignored. In that moment, stillness feels anything but peaceful. Many people mistake this for failure. They think they're doing it wrong because they can't quiet their mind. But the mind isn't meant to be quiet. It's designed to think, to reflect, to respond. Your brain doesn't malfunction just because it keeps working when you sit down. In fact, its constant activity is what keeps you alive. You don't scold your heart for beating. Why shame your mind for thinking? Meditation isn't a way to stop thinking. It's a way to step back from the need to control your thoughts, to sit beside them, not inside them. It's not about silencing the storm. It's about learning not to be swept away by it. But let's be honest. What rises in that storm can be terrifying. Some people sit down to meditate and feel overwhelmed by memories they'd rather forget. Others are struck by anxiety that feels worse than before they began. The silence reveals what noise has always helped them avoid. And it's in that moment that most people give up. They think something's wrong. They think they're broken, but they're not. What's happening is exactly what meditation was meant to show them. What's already there, beneath the surface. It takes courage to stay. It takes strength to keep sitting when everything inside you wants to run. But that's where the healing begins. Not in the escape, but in the return. The return to self. The return to presence. Not the filtered, curated, Instagrammable version of mindfulness, but the gritty, unfiltered truth of being fully alive with what is. Sometimes meditation feels good. Sometimes you'll feel a wave of warmth, a weight lifting, a sudden clarity. But even that can become a trap. Many people get hooked on the sensation, on the emotional high that feels like bliss. They start chasing that feeling, mistaking it for progress, for awakening. But it's no different from any other craving. The moment you need meditation to feel a certain way, you've turned it into an escape again. Meditation isn't here to make you feel better. It's here to help you see more clearly. And clarity at times is a quiet kind of heartbreak. You'll see the parts of yourself you've denied. You'll feel the things you've suppressed, but you'll also start to touch something real, something untouched by your striving. And that's where guidance matters. Not every teacher understands this. In a culture hungry for quick fixes and spiritual shortcuts, there are too many voices offering enlightenment in exchange for your credit card. But real teachers, rare as they are, won't promise you anything. They won't give you a roadmap. They'll give you a mirror, and they'll sit with you as you learn to face your own reflection. The most dangerous lie we've been sold isn't that meditation works. It's that it should be easy, that it's always peaceful, that it delivers a permanent state of calm. When we believe that, we blame ourselves when the experience is anything but. But discomfort is not failure. Resistance is not wrong. What if the chaos isn't the problem, but the beginning of transformation? This isn't about turning meditation into another self-improvement goal. It's about surrendering the goal altogether. Letting go of the idea that there's somewhere better to be, someone better to become. Meditation is the space where you stop trying to upgrade yourself and begin to truly meet yourself. And in that space, however noisy, messy, or uncertain, you may finally discover the kind of peace that doesn't depend on silence, the kind of presence that doesn't need to be perfect to be real, the kind of stillness that was always there, waiting to be remembered. Meditation is not meant to live inside a ritual. It doesn't begin and end with a timer or exist only in quiet corners of your home. If your practice disappears the moment you stand up from the cushion, it was never really alive to begin with. True meditation walks with you. It breathes with you when you're stuck in traffic, when your child is crying, when your inbox is full, and when you're trying not to say something you'll regret. It meets you in the mess, not in spite of it. And that is where the practice becomes powerful. When presence is no longer something you do, but something you are. Stillness doesn't mean motionlessness. Some of the deepest moments of clarity arrive when the body's in motion and the mind isn't trying to perform. That's why walking meditations, mindful movement, or even quiet chores can reveal the same depth as seated silence. Imagine this. You step outside with no agenda. You walk slowly with bare attention. You feel the ground beneath your feet, hear the rustle of the wind, smell the early scent of dusk. You're not trying to achieve anything. You're simply allowing life to pass through you, unfiltered. In that space where the mind is no longer pushing, the truth of your being can emerge without effort. We're not often encouraged to live this way. Our culture loves goals. We are raised to chase outcomes, to be better, stronger, wiser, more enlightened. Even meditation gets caught in that trap. You start with curiosity, but before long, it becomes another project, another box to check, another way to measure your progress, or worse, your worth. But the real paradox of meditation is this. The more you try to get something out of it, the less you receive. The more you treat it like a journey with a finish line, the further away you feel. The moment you stop chasing peace and begin accepting what is, peace arrives, quietly, without effort, like a long-lost friend returning when you least expect it. The true gift of meditation is not transformation, it's recognition. Not becoming someone new, but remembering who you were before the world told you who you had to be. It's realizing that underneath all the striving, you were never broken. That healing is not fixing, but meeting what hurts with the kind of attention we were never taught to give ourselves. To live this way, to walk through life with presence instead of pressure, requires a different kind of courage. It asks us to stop hiding behind improvement and start standing in awareness. It asks us to soften, not perfect, to see clearly, not achieve. It also reminds us that we're not meant to walk alone. Guidance matters, but not every voice that claims to lead is worth following. In a world that monetizes everything, even peace, true wisdom rarely screams for attention. It speaks softly. It doesn't try to impress you, it invites you to listen. Real teachers don't give you the answers. They give you space. Space to question, space to unfold, space to remember your own knowing. But even with guidance, even with books, talks, and teachings, no one can walk the inner path for you. No one can sit with your silence. No one can breathe through your pain. That is your sacred work. And the most honest truth is, it's not always beautiful. It's not always inspiring. Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes it's agonizing. But it's yours. And when you show up for it, day after day, not to escape life, but to feel it more fully, something inside you shifts, quietly, gently, irrevocably. You begin to realize that peace was never lost. It was simply covered by thoughts, by fears, by the noise of becoming. And meditation, at its heart, was never about adding anything. It was about subtracting the illusion that you needed more. This is not the kind of message that sells well. It won't promise miracles in 7 days. It won't give you a 5-step formula. But if you're tired of chasing, if you're ready to meet yourself honestly, maybe it's time to stop searching for the perfect method and start listening to the imperfect truth that's already within you. There is no final destination. There is only the breath. There is only this moment and the sacred choice to be in it fully, without running, without fixing, without hiding. That is meditation.